It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me. Hello, and welcome to the next episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies with special guest Tim Davis. This is the podcast where all three of us went and saw a movie at our local Regal Cinema Theater, and now we're going to talk about it in Matt's on the Pilot, in the parking structure right next to the movie theater. We're going to talk about such things as, should you see this movie, should you not see this movie? Do you need to see it in theaters, or can you wait for streaming? Should you bring a date? Can you bring your kids? Should you bring snacks? Should you nap? Should you craft? All that kind of stuff. We'll tell you what our gut reactions are, and maybe a little bit more, maybe a little less. I don't know. I am Todd Domer.
And I'm Matt Malloy, and I'm just so happy to always hear crafting coming up as a potential thing that could happen during the movies. I've never seen that, but I'm sure at some point it could happen.
I want one magical night. I'll just nudge you and point over to someone who's knitting
Yes.
during the movie.
Yes. Well, here we are. We saw a movie, and we're going to talk about it. This movie is called Trap. It's from M. Night Shyamalan. There's some people in it. Tim, who is in this that we might know?
All right. Our lead is Josh Hartnett, playing the father of a daughter that he took to the big concert in town. It's a teen idol type thing. He's most famous over the years, mostly late 90s, early 2000s. He was in a lot of stuff like the Halloween H2O, The Faculty, which is another horror movie. He was in Pearl Harbor. He was in Black Hawk Down. He's been in a lot of stuff, and then he's kind of bounced around the last few years, with this being his first big movie in a while. We also have in this Haley Mills as the police chief that is leading the plot here. Most famous way back in the day. She was the original Freaky Friday actress, and of course she was the season 1 Saved by the Bell when it was called Good Morning Miss Bliss.
Good Morning Miss Bliss.
And then I would say that's it for the big.
She's the FBI profiler.
Thank you. Yes, recognizable names in this. The daughter is a new actress that I didn't recognize, and Alison Pill shows up in a little bit, but I wouldn't say she's a household name. Her most famous role is the drummer in the Scott Pilgrim movie.
She was in Picard season 2. Thank you.
See, I didn't watch that, so I didn't
Potentially season 1. I can't remember.
Yeah, but there you
Not season 3 though.
go. It is not a big cast for this. This is mainly about Josh Hartnett and his daughter.
Well, and the pop star.
Well, I wouldn't say she's a household name.
She's definitely not.
But
you're going to hear a lot about her in this podcast. I can
is-
very much guarantee you that.
Is the pop star that is focused on her. And what a coincidence. Matt.
Yes. Well, thank you, Tim. So, what is Trap all about? Well, without spoiling it, I can tell you some things about this movie.
It is a twisty-turny movie.
It is a twisty-turny movie. Basically, there's this serial killer who's on the loose, who's called the Butcher.
The Butcher.
Josh Hartnett's character, whose name I have no idea what it is. It's
Cooper.
Cooper. That's right, Cooper.
Coop.
Cooper is at a concert with his daughter, whose name is
Riley.
Mm-hmm.
I feel
Another
like we just
Riley.
had a Riley movie.
Inside Out.
Inside Out
is
2.
Riley, correct.
Yes, and Inside Out 1.
So many Rileys.
Anyway, so Cooper
No hockey in this one though.
No.
and Riley are at a concert. The backdrop is the Butcher is on the loose in the city of Philadelphia, where they're at a concert with this pop star called Lady Raven, and the police have gotten a tip that the Butcher is at this concert, and so we walk with Cooper mainly and Riley a little bit around the whole concert experience. And with heavy police presence, the police is trying to figure out what's going on, and Cooper takes an interest in what's going on, and things kind of escalate from there. And the police try and interrogate everyone leaving the concert, and during the concert they're pulling people out of seats, and all this stuff is going on. And so you are trying to figure out who the killer is. Although they tell you fairly early, I won't tell you.
It is very clear in the trailers that he is the Butcher.
The Butcher is Cooper.
I would say that's not even
No,
a question
they give
at
that
all.
away in the trailer.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that makes it a little bit more interesting when you know
Yes.
that Cooper is the Butcher.
And you're following him throughout the movie.
You're following him. If you're a serial killer, you're probably rooting for him. Maybe you're rooting for him a little bit if you're if you're not a serial killer. But anyway, we go through the movie and
From his point of view.
from his point of view, and from his avoidance or non-avoidance of the law, and things really escalate and tighten up throughout this movie. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Todd, it's not a trap. What's your gut reaction to Trap?
Nice. My gut reaction to Trap is that this movie is crap, but there is some good in it that which makes it a shame, because I think there's the potential of this movie was there. Like when I walking out of this movie, I'm like, the potential was there. This could have been really something special. This could have been a great suspense thriller. Could have been a very memorable movie, but it's not, and it's there's some factors to it.
It could be memorable for the wrong reason.
Yeah, it's definitely not like The Happening.
No.
Of M. Night Shyamalan
It's not in
levels
his
of
bottom.
M. Night Shyamalan movies. Right. And I would say that the twisty turns are pretty tempered compared to how crazy his twisty turns can be. But I mean, I gotta get it out of the way fast because I'm like choking on it. The biggest problem with this movie is that he cast his daughter as the pop star, and the pop star is a very meaty role in this movie.
Very important role.
And his daughter is very, very bad, like very, very bad, and that sucks because I don't want anyone to fail, unless I guess you're trying to kill someone. Then I want you to fail. But if someone's trying to do a movie, I don't want you to fail, but it's just real bad. Like it's every scene that she's in is bad. Like she sucks the life out of every scene that she's in because she can't act. And like I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to be like blunt
from what we know, this
about
is her first
my
movie,
review of this movie. Is that every scene that she's in, it's like you're scratching your head like, that's the best take that you went with to make the final product. And this is what happens when you have not only a director who still thinks he's hot shit, who can do whatever he wants and people are going to eat it up, but then also has a Nepo baby who's like, I'm an actress, I can do these things that I see other people do, put me in a movie, daddy, and like, here we are. The movie is not good, and it sucks because there's a lot of potential. I think Josh Hartnett did a pretty good job. There are scenes in this movie where I think he nails it, and then there's scenes where I'm like, that wasn't the best. But I think on a whole, coming out of the movie, I was like, he was very enjoyable. And what I do really like about this movie is that he is the main character, and everything is from his perspective. All new information you get from the movie is from the perspective of him learning it in real time. Like, he's learning in real time about the trap that's being set for him. He's like, grabbing a cop radio and learning more about the investigation, but you're learning everything as he's learning it. Like, you don't come in with any previous information besides the premise of the movie and all these revelations of like why the security is there, all everything that's going on, the police profiler. You learn all that stuff as he learns it. So you see his reaction in real time, and I thought that was very interesting. Like, there's some good scenes with some good camera placement of like, there's one scene where you can only slightly see into the profiler's kind of video surveillance like room, and he's on the outside of it down the hall a little bit, but you see things play out where people are talking in that room, and you can see that he's hearing them reacting to what they're saying, but he's a little bit like, it was very interesting. Like, that stuff I thought was done well. And that's the potential. Yeah, that's the nugget of goodness that's in this movie.
It wasn't a contrivance that he happened to hear like a whole conversation. He would get snippets.
Right, and I thought that was interesting. Like, it truly is everything from this character's point of view. But man, it's still a Shyamalan movie, and he's still all up in it. He can't help himself. He's got to put himself in his movies.
Yep, it's his Hitchcock thing.
His roles are always small, but they always seem to be like, why did you make it such a bigger role than it could have just been you there? Right. Like, but I just like, do I say, can I endorse this movie to go see it in theaters? No, it's not good enough to do that. I wouldn't want to reward the the piss poor decisions that were made surrounding this movie and the casting of it and stuff like that. But I do want it to be known that it's a shame, because I was very interested in this movie. I thought it's a very good premise. I thought even almost the execution of this movie was pretty good. It's just like a lot of, you've got the daughter who's in the movie a lot. It's a very meaty role, and she's really bad in it, and it just really brought me completely out of the movie when she's on screen. So there was no recovery for me from that kind of stuff. But I'll leave it there. I could go on a long time about this movie and how I'm frustrated by it, but I'll pass it off. Tim?
Yeah, I think I have a lot of the same problems you did. Like, the movie does reel you in at the start. You're kind of involved, and then even if the trailers kind of gave away that it was him, you're still intrigued to see just how evil is he, what's going on.
Right.
You're not rooting for him, but you're intrigued to see how is he going to get out of this.
Well, and we should also mention that we had a 7:50 start time for our
true.
movie, which we're typically used to half-hour trailers.
And
we walked into the movie at
it started.
8:03, and the movie was already playing. I do think we missed a legit 10 minutes of this movie.
It's possible.
Like, is how it played off to me when we walked in.
But I
was
don't know
like,
if that
holy
would.
crap.
I'm not sure. The way Shyamalan does things, he doesn't usually give away much of the
Maybe
movie.
not.
He sets the tone.
But it felt weird.
I agree. But I don't know if that changes anything here. Like, I mean, from what we
I don't think
we saw,
the 10 minutes isn't going to change my mind about this.
I thought it started well, where at first he just seems like a regular dad taking his daughter to like her teen idol favorite singer, and he's trying to be a good dad about it. He's not cool, he's not the hip dad, but he's trying. And then I thought they played that well, where just slowly layers were being revealed that something seemed off to him. And at first you're like, oh, okay, there's a lot of police here. I wonder what's going on. And then as you start to peel back the layers of who he is, which even if you didn't know that going in, it makes it interesting to make him the center of attention. Yeah. In a movie where usually the villain isn't who you're rooting for, or at least following, the way through. So I agree with you, Todd, that was a great idea for a movie. Like, oh, let's do it from this perspective, and now we're like, it's not that you're, like you said, we're not rooting for him in like the get out of there way, but just more of a, all right, he really is in the trap. How is he going to figure this one out if he's so smart? And like you said, like the catching snippets of conversations, or the way he was sneaking around, it wasn't so bold. It was just more like he at times he had a desperate look on his face, and there was that panic on him, like even though he was trying to stay cool and calm. And I thought he played that well. Like, he was trying to be Mr. I'm in control, but I'm not, but let me roll with this. And he would catch some things here and there, and just enough to, like, before it looked weird, and then he would go back to his daughter trying to act normal. And I thought all those scenes, like at the beginning, like, so not the concert itself, whatever, but like just some of the tension building was really good. Shyamalan's always been able to build worlds, I think, and that's the one thing I'll give him credit for. But again, as usual, he gets in his own way, and as the twists start and some of the ways he moves around things are a little too convenient, and it's like the stuff that wasn't contrived at the beginning became contrived as it went along, and it became more of a okay, well, all right, and then it just, for me, it almost went into cliches that it didn't have to. It could have stayed clever. And I don't know if that was his twist this time, was that I'm going to do some of the things you expect. But I don't know, like the ending really fumbled the ball to me. And there's almost I want to say FU scene at the end to the audience that's kind of makes the whole thing like a joke, which I didn't appreciate. And it kind of left me with a real sour taste at the end. And I thought after all the work that especially I think Hartnett did, I'm not going to blame him for some of his acting choices, because I feel like Shyamalan by the end was just saying, no, go with that. Let's get all the way there now. And because I feel like Hartnett was asked to carry this movie, and I've never been the biggest fan of him. And for me, I thought this was a good showcase for him. I thought he really tried to make this like a starring role that he cherished being in. Everybody else, I think I agree with Todd with Shyamalan's daughter is not very good at all. Very plastic, very... Yeah. Didn't know how to emote or what emotion she was going for, or he gave her bad direction, or all the above. Either way, she was, like you said, left to carry these meaty scenes that are supposed to be almost plot driving forward, and because she's not good, you're just left going, oof.
Yeah.
And that's tough because those scenes could have been really well done in the hands of a capable person, and might have added an extra layer to everything. So I don't know. Like you said, great premise. I was more intrigued by this like others, and I thought, after Knock at the Cabin, which we all kind of liked, although it also fumbled a little at the end, we thought Shyamalan lately has been sort of coming back from his bad phase. But again, he just can't stick the landing, and I don't know if that's something that he'll ever be able to do again. So I'm with you in that I don't think you should rush to see this in the theaters. If you have a curiosity about it, and our review hasn't changed your mind yet, not that we want to change your mind, but this is just our gut reaction, it might be worth checking out when it hits streaming, but it's definitely not a go rush out and see it. Matt?
Well, I have to say I was rooting for the serial killer to escape in this movie. But it's not because he's a serial killer.
No, I get it.
I'm not for serial killing.
No.
But,
Or are you?
but I agree. Josh Hartnett played this character well enough, and I was intrigued enough by what was going on that I was like, man, I hope he figures out a way to get out of this.
You are kind of pulling for him, and
the movie does make you sympathetic to him, even though you're not supposed to be.
And
it's a weird position to be in.
He doesn't really do anything that you're like, oh man, that's so awful.
Correct.
And to a point.
And you can tell. Well, yeah. You can tell he loves his daughter. They try and put scenes in where he clearly does care about his daughter, and he's trying to be a good dad.
So what I think is this is a pretty good movie. Until you get the pop star involvement. Lady Raven comes on the scene, and she's terrible. And pretty much anything that happens after that in the movie is like, what?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why do we need this? We should have had a nice wrap up to this movie. Instead, we got about another half hour of just we
got about 10 different endings,
stringing you along.
That's where the contrivances came from.
It's almost like his twisty turn curve was, when is this movie going to end? Because it's like, here's a wrap up. Oh no! Here we go. Let's keep going. Okay, here's a wrap up. Oh, not yet.
Right.
Oh, we got more.
Yeah. See, the whole thing. The name of the movie, Trap, is they were setting this trap at this concert.
Correct.
To me, that should have been where the movie ended.
There's still about 40 minutes after he gets out of the quote-unquote trap.
Right. We should have never left the arena.
We should have either he should have escaped in a really clever way that leaves you saying, man, he got away with it. He got it over on them. Or he should have been captured in a really awesome and dramatic and clever way where he thought he gets away, but oh no, the shackles come down at the last minute and he's trapped.
Here comes Miss Bliss.
Right. Yes. Right. So the other thing that I'll say about this is I feel like M. Night Shyamalan is, at this point, his name almost tarnishes the movie before you sit down and watch it. And so you're more thinking a little bit about well, what's the twist going to be? Right. Or how's he going to do this? Or how's he going to play this? Because he's put out all these movies and we've watched all these movies. And I feel like if you could go into this without knowing it was an M. Night Shyamalan movie, I think you would really enjoy
it. Would help
the first
hour
of the movie. And then there's no saving the end because he screwed it up royally. But I feel like you would really enjoy it even more, not like if it was an unknown director who put this movie out.
Yeah, it's almost like everything after the concert it starts to become a character study.
Yeah.
But, which is not bad within itself, but that's not the movie you built already.
Correct.
That's the thing, is that because after the concert, there were things that I liked, but I was like, this is a whole separate movie, it feels like now. You have concluded the first movie, we are into a second movie. And it's showing because everything is so night and day drastically different now.
Yes.
And I was like, because I would have dug a movie that was more of a character study, because I was like, because I thought Josh Hartnett's character was so fascinating because it's a character who does not have emotions. So he's acting all the time. And I thought he played that off really well. Yep. And then not one of the biggie twist turns, but the the development of he does love his kids and he's experiencing emotions that he doesn't
know how to
know because he's
wrestle
never
with.
is also very intriguing to me, and it played off very well. But it was a whole separate movie at that point. It was the expense. We got that interesting stuff at the expense of the conclusion of the first movie.
Correct.
Like, of the story you had already spent 45 minutes building. Like,
Yep.
misstep, M. Night. Misstep.
Yep.
And the last thing that I'm going to say about it is, like, the first part of this movie was so clever.
Yeah.
Everyone was acting in a very smart way.
Yeah.
Like, both sides. The cops were acting smart. The lady was like, the profiler was like on everything.
Yeah.
He was acting smart as the guy trying to escape. Like, he was making smart, good decisions for the most part. And then you get again to this ending part, and the decisions that the characters and the cops make from then on are just moronic. You're like, why would you do that?
And
why would you do that?
And there's also some reveals that are like, oh, come on, of course.
I can tell you the exact point in the movie where things took a hard dip down for me is when he grabbed the apron and went to the roof to see, how bad things were or whatever, and he gets stopped by the SWAT team or whatever, and they're like, do you have the card you're supposed to have to be a worker or whatever? And he's just fumbling around the apron, and magically the guy leaves his wallet in the apron that has everything he needs in that exact moment. Yeah. And it was like, that was incredibly, like, there's no point to that
was
scene.
The contrivance part.
It was just lazy. It was like, also, and this just might be me, maybe it's just because I associate concerts with nighttime, but like, what time did that concert start?
Well, it was an afternoon concert that was added because the other two concerts were sold out for Lady Raven.
Did they cover that?
They did cover that when they were walking up to the concert.
They did at the very beginning. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, when they got out of the concert and it was still daytime, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I just always think concerts at night. I mean, I know there's daytime shows. I just always think concerts at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that was the twist.
What
a twist. This concert was during the day.
Yes. Well, anyway, that's how I feel about it. I feel like you could I would just say watch the first hour and enjoy that, and once the venue changes, just turn it off.
I was gonna say, I think everyone will have a moment. Like, it may be different for everybody but there's a few scenes you could choose from after the concert where you go, okay, got it.
Well, yeah,
I'm
out. The first
like,
45 minutes is the suspense building trap. Then the second half is everything after the trap, and you're like, okay.
Yeah,
this
and
is
I feel everybody will have.
Can we all go back into the trap?
There's a scene where anybody can just go, you know what? No.
Let's go back to when there was some interesting things going on.
Yeah.
Believable things.
Yes, it was more believable.
All right. Well, getting down to it, how many slap bracelets would you give this movie?
Good one.
0 being the worst because then you have no slap bracelets, and 5 being the best because then you have 5. You can give them to friends. You can also put them on your arm to cover up tattoos things that maybe you shouldn't be showing that can help you get away from your trap. Hint, 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 hint.
What?
Matt?
Yeah, I mean, it would be awesome to have 5 slap bracelets on one arm.
Slap bracelets are awesome.
That would be so cool. Unfortunately, M. Night Shyamalan does not get the benefit of having 5 slap bracelets.
And his daughter on them.
Oh yes, Lady Raven slap bracelets. Well, I'm gonna say this movie wasn't a total loss. It was not above average. It was not even average. It was below average. But I'm still gonna give it 2 slap bracelets because I was intrigued for a good 2/3 of the movie. Yeah. And then you lost me. So 2.
Tim?
I was also right about it at 2, but I want to give Josh Hartnett credit for elevating it more than it probably deserved. Yeah. And so I give it a 2.2.
Nice. I'm not too far off. My anger only allows me to give it a 1.5.
Yeah.
But I do feel like I have to say that if this movie was smarter and it wasn't M. Night and he didn't cast his daughter and you just took the premise and some of the other actors who was in there, like this could have been a 4-star plus movie.
I agree.
Like,
potential was definitely squandered.
Yeah, I mean, like, by the time everything starts to go downhill, I have to agree. I was super into the movie, like, and then it just starts to fall apart scene after scene after scene. And you're like, man, you did such a good job of captivating me. And then instead of holding me up in your loving embrace of support, you just dropped me, and I hit the cold, hard ground, and I smacked my face, and my tooth came out. That's how I feel at night.
I think that's what makes it so hard, is that, like, it'd be one thing if he fumbled it from the start, because then you just go, all right, we're on along for this ride and whatever.
Yeah,
but
and
the fact that you're like, and then,
we're not mad, and we're just disappointed.
Correct.
Yeah. And how many times can we be disappointed in you?
Yeah.
Unlimited. I'm making these movies forever.
Yes. So
that's what it seems like.
What's your number?
This also would have benefited, like, for the first half of the movie, I kept thinking to myself, man, this is an incredible episode of The Outer Limits.
Well, that's
or something. That was the feel of to me.
Yeah,
of, like,
I think he was.
It was like, all you needed was a narrator of, like, here's Cooper taking his daughter to just like setting up but Cooper's got secrets. What are those
find
secrets?
Out, shall we?
Let's look in. Like,
no, I know what you're saying. Yeah. So what's your number? I don't think you said.
I said 1.5.
Oh, 1.5. That's right. Yeah.
It's anger. Anger only allows.
Anger only allows 1.5.
1.5. Sorry, M. Night.
I feel like without the anger, I may have gotten to like 1.8, 1.9.
Yep.
But
Any final thoughts?
Knock at the Cabin was better.
Okay. I wonder if our ratings support that.
I think
probably. I don't remember us really doing bad.
I think that ending didn't fumble the same way we thought this one did. Like we didn't love it, but we were like, we were all along for the ride longer.
More of that
I feel
movie
like it could
was
have been,
okay.
I feel like we all could have been over 2.5 for that movie.
Yeah, because the acting in that I thought was better.
And certainly, I don't think any of us walked away angry.
No, I think it was just went, okay, M. Night. I think we came away there going, all right, M. Night.
Unless
bad.
are you about to just say something crazy
please
and prove me completely
confirm.
wrong? Like I don't know what I'm talking about.
No, I'm going to tell you what the rating was. It was
Yes.
3.1.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I think we liked that one.
Tim 3.3, Todd 2.9, and me 3.2.
Yeah,
so
so
we
right
like
around
that.
there.
All right, there we go.
We like that better.
So M. Night can get there.
But I do think this could have been a better movie.
I agree with
this,
that.
like, I can't stress how much I was like into this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, you have got me hook, line, and sinker, and then you just
me too.
let me down.
I think that's why our rating might be lower too, because
it's like you pulled your pants down and farted in my face.
So disappointed.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Matt and Todd Go to the Movies, where we reviewed the movie Trap. And we gave it an average rating of 1.9 slap bracelets out of 5. That's not great.
No,
That's
it's
not
one
great.
Of the lower ones.
You're not covering much of a tattoo with that slap bracelet.
No, it's not even. Well, it's more than one, but it's not even 2. So, but anyway, So we kind of recommend you don't see this movie. Maybe check it out on streaming. Maybe turn it off halfway and.
Let your mind finish the movie.
If you reach a moment watching it where you go, okay, I've lost it, you can just turn it off right there.
Yeah, because there's no redemption.
Hopefully you feel that moment if you watch it, and then you feel a part of the podcast.
That's
because we all felt that too.
Yeah.
For sure. Well, thank you for listening to us and downloading and subscribing. And please continue to do all those things. And we will see you next time.
Da 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 da.
Da da da.